Welcome to Kids Academy.
Hi and welcome to this video. Today we'll be discussing pins, and other than double attacks, also known as forks, the pin is the most common tactic in chess. It happens all the time. So let's get right into it. Today we're going to discuss the pin, and here is a very basic example of a pin. There's no white king here, just a very brief training example. The rook is attacking the knight, and behind the knight is the king. We say this knight is pinned, it is stuck, it is frozen. This knight cannot move because if it were to move, the rook would be checking the king. So using this as an example, our definition of a pin is when we attack a piece and there is a more valuable piece behind it. Because pins happen in straight lines and long range, there are only three pieces in chess that can make a pin. They are the rooks, the bishops, and the queens. That is it. A rook can make a pin, a bishop can make a pin, and so can a queen. Pawns, knights, kings cannot. Here is an example of black making a pin. This rook is pinning the bishop to the king. This bishop is not allowed to move because if it were to move, the king would be in check. The bishop is the front piece, the king is the back piece. We are pinning the front to the back. This bishop is stuck. Here is an example of a bishop doing a pin. So we saw two examples of rooks. Here's a bishop pinning the knight to the king. This knight probably would love to capture the pawn on h3, but this knight is immobile. It is pinned, it cannot move. We can pin pieces even if that means that our piece is being attacked. So in this game, black just played the move rook a6, and even though the queen can attack that rook, because the rook is defended, this makes a very strong pin. If the queen captures the rook, white would capture 5 points, but after the pawn captures the queen, white would lose 9 points. And if white just moves maybe to the side, king b3, next turn black will capture the queen, the king will capture the rook. Either way, white is losing material thanks to this pin, rook a6. The queen is the front piece, the king is the back piece. So far, we've seen examples of pinning pieces to a more valuable piece behind it. And of course, we've seen pinning pieces to kings because the king is the most valuable piece, the most important piece in chess. But did you know you can also pin a piece to a square? Well, this is a great example of that. Here, the rook is attacking the knight, and there isn't a more valuable piece behind the knight, but there is a very valuable square, and that square is d8. And we say d8 is very valuable, for if the rook were to reach this square, you know what it would be? It would be checkmate. The black king would be mated by the rook, game over. So we say this knight is pinned to the d8 square. It really can't move. If it tries to move, rook d8 mate. So black has nothing better to maybe move a pawn, at which point we capture the knight for free. White wins 3 points by pinning a piece not to a king, not to a queen, but to a square. Okay, in this game, it's white's turn. What is white's best move? Trying to find a pin. I want to attack that knight. Rook a4 looks okay, but the black knight will just run away. It's not pinned, it's free to retreat. The best move for white is actually rook e1. We are pinning the knight. This knight cannot move. Look, it won't even let me pick it up. That knight cannot move, or if it does, the king will be in check. It doesn't matter what move black plays, next turn, we can capture the knight for free. Okay, in this game, it's black's turn. How can black make a pin? So remember, bishops, rooks, and queens can make pins. And whenever I'm playing a game of chess, my search strategy is to look for my opponent's pieces that are lined up, either on the same rank, so side to side, the same file up and down, or the same diagonal. And in this game, I see the white king and white queen are both on the 4th rank. They're both on this 4th row. Is there a way I can make a pin to win material? Well, yes, I can. I can play rook e4. Notice how the bishop supports the rook or guards the rook, and the rook is pinning the queen to the king. It doesn't matter what move white plays. Next turn we'll play rook takes queen and win material. Okay. In this game, if you had a magic wand and you could place a white rook anywhere on the board, where would you place the white rook to, number 1, get a pin, and number 2, win material? So we're looking for black pieces that are lined up on the same rank, on the same file, or the same diagonal, and a way that we can pin a piece and win points. Well, the answer here, if I had a magic wand, I'll go abracadabra and put my rook on a8. A rook on a8 would pin the knight to the king. That knight cannot move. There's no way for black to guard the knight. There's no way for this knight to run away. And there's nothing black has that could capture a rook if it were on a8. The answer is rook a8, pinning the knight to the king. Let's do one more. In this game, it is white's turn. What is white's best move? So remember our search strategy. We want to use a rook, a bishop, or a queen. We want to look for opponent pieces that are lined up on the same rank, file, or diagonal. So white has a queen, 2 rooks, and a bishop. A lot of pieces that can make pins. Now I'm looking for black pieces that are lined up on the same line. Right away I notice these 2 black rooks are lined up. I don't want to put my queen here. It'll get captured. If I take this rook, they'll take my rook. That's just a fair trade. I don't see any pins here. But maybe the first move is bishop f3. This move pins the rook to the queen. If this rook were to move, we capture the queen behind it. If the 5-point rook stays there, we'll capture it with our 3-point bishop and win points. Very nice job if you found the move bishop f3. So remember, there are 3 pieces in chess that can do pins. They're bishops, rooks, and queens. And look for opponents' pieces that are on the same line, meaning the same rank, the same file, or the same diagonal. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.